Make your own mind up about this one. Do you believe in witchcraft?
Good morning. Less than 50 years ago, it was against the law to practice witchcraft. Indeed, in 1944, a medium called Helen Duncan went to prison for it. The Witchcraft Act was finally repealed in 1951, and today there are growing numbers of people interested in the ancient religion of Wicca and other pagan movements. So, do you believe in witchcraft? That's the question I'll be putting to our panel in a moment. But first, our witness, Kevin Carlyon, who's a white witch. First of all, Kevin, how did you become a witch?
Basically, since the age of 4 or 5 years old, I've had an ability to predict things for people, tell people things that would happen to them, ranging when I was a child from what would be in the sandwiches to other things that happened. I was pulled before a school vicar at the age of 5, who said I had the devil inside me in front of the headmistress. I must stress here, my family aren't from any religion at all. My mother went up to school, gave the vicar a complete rollicking for being narrow-minded and basically saying that I had, the devil inside me for being able to predict things.
What's a white witch as opposed to any other kind of witch?
Well, the term witch, I prefer the term practitioner of earth magic, but a witch is, people will say, oh, you mean witch, you can do spells. In the old days it used to be like, they used to believe that we sacrifice animals, but now all the stuff like Sabrina the Teenage Witch has come out on television, they say that there are goodies. We tap into a good side of a latent energy force, shall we say, very similar to the Star Wars term, which you can actually, through positive thought and through incantations, not connecting with spiritual forces, I must add here, but it's the power of the mind.
So what you're saying is you're a good witch?
I'm a goodie, yeah.
Who would want to be a witch?
People are born with a sixth sense.
But you're not born a witch.
You are. A witch is born, not created. We'll come to initiation, no doubt, later on. But a person has instincts and abilities and feelings inside themselves. And if the mind is attuned the correct way, you can do nothing but good and beneficial things for other people.
Do you accept, with respect, that people listening to you might think you're completely bonkers?
Of course, yeah. Just like they would believe that of any other religion. But we actually don't go around and say, right, we have this mystic power. We're finding in the 20th century, obviously I'm appearing on this program now, that witches or pagans, they can be very open now. They can say, okay, I can heal you, we have this ability inside ourselves.
But you can also use it for bad purposes, can't you?
That's
you can put curses on people.
That's the black side.
Have you ever done that?
I have actually not done that, not a curse. But you can...
What have you done that is the worst thing you've ever done?
I think the worst thing we've ever done is annoyed our neighbours in reality. Because
when you put the doll with...
No. Well, we've done a few bits like that, but that's purely because they said we were playing reggae music 24 hours a day. So we used the Addams Family touch.
What did you do?
And scared living daylights out of them. Just a bat on our door, and what they would expect witches to be like. In reality, witches nowadays are normal people.
You're a high priest.
I am, yes.
How many people are in your coven?
Throughout Europe and throughout this country, our coven is called the Covenant of Earth Magic, and we are totally separate from other covens, including Wiccan covens, and we have nearly 600 members now.
How did you become the high priest?
Basically through being voted in, and also because I've initiated many other people. Initiation is, in a way, like giving somebody a Barclay card and saying, yes, you can join our group.
Is part of the initiation ceremony still having to have sex with the priest or priestess?
In our group, no, but in some of the Wiccan covens it is. There is nudism, bondage and flagellation involved in some of the Wiccan rites, which I must admit were basically invented in 1951 when the Witchcraft Act was repealed.
Are you happy being a witch?
I'm me. Witch is just a term. I could be called anything. As I say, I prefer the term practitioner of earth magic, but people say, oh, you mean witch? So the title sticks, but yes, it's a way of life. It's a power of the mind, a focal point, not a superstition.
Do you think you're a little deranged?
No.
Okay, Rabbi Shaul Rosenblatt, what do you think? Do you think Kevin's a witch, and if so, is there anything wrong with it?
I don't think I'd call him a witch in the strictest sense of the term. It's more of a clairvoyance type thing, from my understanding of what he's saying. I think witchcraft is slightly different. I think witchcraft is that there are spiritual forces in the world. The Talmud tells us that every blade of grass has an angel. But an angel, I don't mean a winged being pushing it up, but a spiritual force pushing it up. And in the same way as you can take physical forces in this world, you can take the atom, the forces in the atom, and use them in a very powerful way. You can take the spiritual forces that are...
All right, then to ask another, is there anything wrong with Kevin thinking he's a witch, being a high priest and having a coven of hundreds of people? Is there anything wrong with that?
It depends on to what extent he's involved in witchcraft practices.
Well, it's a way of life now, but I must stress here we're not a loony cult. You know, like the people that beam up to the comet, whatever they were called over in America.
You meet in the dark in a circle and stuff like that?
We meet in woods, we meet in flats. We're very open about the ceremonies we perform. In fact, we've even been called in by police forces around the country in the past to help them with inquiries and things.
And you do cast spells in places, like the local council story about the playground?
Yes, we do, yeah. We cast spells. It's the power of positive thought to bring about an end result.
But how do you avoid the power of negative thought? Isn't that the danger?
That is the containment within a circle. Hence the ritual, hence the robes. I mean, the robes, for instance, they're purely to attune the mind.
Stephen Green, do you think you can control the negative side of witchcraft?
No, I don't. And I think that what you might think to be a positive thing that you're doing for somebody can turn out to be a negative thing that you're doing for somebody else. You can never buck the law of unintended consequences.
I must reply to that, because people can go to church and they can pray against their noisy neighbours. So how do you know they're not invoking negative, godly side of things?
Well, noisy neighbours, like you have admitted, yourselves are shortly to be made illegal by the government's new legislation. So
it's a point there, though, that people can pray for whatever they want. They can pray for greed in the Christian term.
Yes, but praying to Almighty God is a quite different, because it's up to Him whether He wants to, how He wants to answer your prayer. And the things that you are doing are deliberately designed to work towards not a political end, a certain end.
Do you believe that Kevin gets his powers from the devil?
I believe he certainly gets his power from the spiritual hierarchies, yes, which I say are fallen angels, and who are led by the devil.
No, we don't believe in the devil, you see. We believe that devil.
You believe that everything is all in...
It's a neutral energy. Yeah. It's like electricity. Yeah. You can cook with it or you can kill with it. But we don't pray externally to some false deity, as other religions do. We look internally for our own energies and what we can do, and we have to be the master of our own control and destiny. Whereas people praying to God could be opening themselves to any sorts of evil. I mean, the devil could come to them in the form of God.
Just to bring Prudence Jones in here, sorry, Kevin. You're a pagan historian. Is Kevin a typical witch?
Well, witchcraft tends to be used to describe one of three activities, and one is the kind of spell casting and practical magic that Kevin's been describing so eloquently, and a second is harmful magic only, which I don't hear being talked about much nowadays, certainly around this table. And then the third is a modern pagan religion, usually called Wicca, which uses the spellcasting and clairvoyance techniques to develop the psychic powers, the spiritual powers, in the worship of pagan divinities. So there are three different things,
isn't the
really.
danger, and Kevin, you've acknowledged it already, that if you have powers like Kevin has, how do you stop them being used for wrong reasons? How do you stop the evil side being used if they do have these powers?
Well,
because Kevin must get annoyed with people. You got annoyed with your neighbours.
People who recognise those powers, societies that have recognised magical powers, have always legislated against the unauthorised, harmful use of them. All of them. Pagan societies, Christian societies, the lot. Societies that have recognised that those powers work have legislated against them. And it's like any skill, any power, the martial arts. Anybody who joins the UK Martial Arts Federation has to sign a pledge that they will not use the skills they developed to harm anybody else.